יתקבל ויסתבר שמי רבו יאמר הוא הסניס החדשו לחיה מסייל להסקה לחיי העלמה ולבנים קרתא בשונים ומפוסה ויקרא בחיי כל ומכון וחיי לכל בייס ישראל בעד עליו זמן תריבים הוא אמן וישתבח וישפע וישומם וישנעשה ויסעדה ויסעלה ויסעלה השם את קדושה
Right towards the end of the Masechta, Gemara brings Im re'isa do she'ein ha'torah chaviv olav. You see a generation that doesn't value Torah, doesn't have an appreciation of what Torah is. I don't know if you can imagine such a thing, but it does happen occasionally in history, right? Kanes shenema eis lases l'Hashem ofer torasecha. So Rashi says there are times when you have to go out, you have to be mitpazer, to go out to be makarev, and there are times when the others are not doing it, and there are times we have to focus on your own learning if there are others doing that. Essentially, it's a capsulization of the b'mokum she'enish. When there isn't somebody doing what has to be done, then you do it. There's a very unusual pshat that the Shaloh HaKodesh has on that posuk. Eis lases l'Hashem ofer torasecha. The Shaloh says, if you limit your sense of what Torah is and your Torah obligation to certain hours of your life, certain portion, a certain section, then hafer torasecha, you're rejecting, you're denying the Torah. Because it's the totality. It's everything. David HaMelech says in Tilim that Chishafti Ezroch, I started to go someplace, and then I turned around and I seemed to go the other direction. Ashivas Raglei Aliv Lusecha. Most learned that he was going one place, which was a Dova Shebereshus, and he said, no, I better go back to the Beis Medrash. Libi Oimeli, there's another pshat there, is that I first thought I was leaving the Beis Medrash, but then I reassessed it and I recognized what the Shaloh is saying. It's not leaving. There's a Torah-dik way to do business. There's a Torah-dik way to do whatever has to be done. So I'm not leaving the Beis Medrash. I'm now thinking, V'gisa bo yom v'layla, I can be a Mekayim. David HaMelech says, like, l'kol tichla, every goal in life has an end. But mitzvosecha, there's no boundary. There's no limitation to what can be drawn. It's the totality of our existence. In the introduction to Masechta Brachos, the Rif says that Svara has a state of preeminence in our understanding and our approaching the world, because we have to learn how to be critical. You can't be critical without utilizing Svara. On the other hand, the supremacy of application of Svara can only come from somebody who's immersed in Torah and knows where and how to critique that there are variables here that transcend what I can understand. I have a better probability if it's Kitas, if I'm learning in a Chabura, that they're going to correct me. But even when that doesn't happen, it's only when we're all immersed in learning, and we're trying to utilize the subjective. It's an obstacle course. And we want it monitored, gauged in a manner that we have a better shot at being successful. Shem Yitain, that these days, when right has become left and left has become right, and when over $1 billion shekel can be given to our B'nai Dodim to join a government which they walked away from when we were being attacked by their B'nai Dodim. Does it sound meshuggah? Yeah. And always keep in mind, I'll end with this. Remember the story of the guy who gets the flat tire in front of an insane asylum? In the years when we used to change tires ourselves. He's taking off the bolts, takes off the hubcap, puts the bolts in the hubcap, puts on the spare, accidentally kicks the hubcap, and the bolts go rolling down into a sewer. He's standing there. What do I do now? Fellow sticks his head out of the insane asylum. He says, listen, what you should do is take one bolt off each one of the other tires. You'll have 3 on each tire, and it'll surely hold until you get to a gas station. So he looks up and he says, what are you doing there? I never would have thought of that. You're there and I'm here. He says, listen, I may be meshuggah, but I'm not stupid. Fellas, remember, it's a different area of expertise. Chazak ve'amatz, we have a lot of people around us that they're not stupid, but boy, are they meshuggah.
Sus aneichi alim rasecha k'meitzei shalom. I rejoice over your Torah as if I found a great, great treasure. Rebbe Kiveger says that why is Torah compared to a great treasure? So there's a double message here. Imagine that you were given 24 hours on an island that is filled with jewels and diamonds and rubies. In other words, all there is, no matter what, and it's as easy to pick up as dirt or rocks or pebbles. And you were told, whatever you pick up is yours. You take home. You get to keep. But at the end of the 24 hours, whatever you didn't pick up, that's lost forever. So Memela, every second the person is there is another diamond, another ruby, another emerald, a gewaldige simcha. But there's also a certain measure of tsar, because no matter how much you've picked up, there is so much that you didn't pick up. So David HaMelech says, I rejoice over your Torah, but it's like finding this infinite treasure, because I know I'm never going to reach the end of it, but still I have to have a simcha in whatever I pick up. I think I mentioned before, in the Hakdama of the Noda B'Yehuda, the Noda B'Yehuda's children basically say that a person will merit in Eilam Haba to understand Be'iyon mamish. Let's make up a number, just making up a number. Whatever you learn in this world, you'll understand 1,000,000 times better in Eilam Haba. But only what you learned in this world. What you didn't learn in this world, you'll have no Havana in Eilam Haba. So Memela, what I learn in this world, I will get that tremendous Havana, and therefore I try to learn as much as I'm able to learn in all of the mitzvahs of the Torah. I just want to give all tremendous mazel tov. Certainly, we're very proud of you. The yeshiva is very proud of you, but most importantly, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu who gets nachas when Am Yisrael steigs and learns Torah. And may you go, may chayil el chayil, and may we be zeicha to come back and hear many, many more siyumim, both as a group and as yechidim. Mazel tov.
Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rabbi Chanina, Talmidei Chachamim, Marbim Shalom Ba'olam. What we say it every day. What does it mean? By which way do Talmidei Chachamim Marbim Shalom Ba'olam? I would definitely have a havamina that through the learning. I would definitely say it's through the learning. Other Mefarshim say different. such as the Marsha, the last Marsha in the whole Masechta. And he says like this. He says this whole Masechta brings in brachos and tefillos that Chazal were masakin. He says the reason was to increase shalom in the world. L'hainu, ben Yisrael, levihem shebashmayim. Between Klal Yisrael and Hashem. You say brachos, you say tefillos, you're increasing your relationship with Hashem, you're increasing your closeness with Hashem, and creating much more of a shalom between the entity of Klal Yisrael and Kodesh Baruch Hu.
I can only say it's a remarkable thing. I remember where Eitan was holding when he first walked in. It was, a beginner, a raw beginner, basically. When he first came in, and you see where he's holding now, and it's a remarkable achievement. It really is an amazing amount of growth. All you guys sitting in Rabbi Siegel's chair, you assume that that's where he was holding the whole time. But, I know the humble beginnings, how he came in here, and it's just sheer determination, as Rabbi Raskis was saying, hard work, a desire to grow, a desire to be a Talmid Chacham, and he's really achieved an amazing thing, finishing the whole Masechta, chazering it with Rabbi Goldman a lot, many, many times, and it's a kavod to introduce him and that he should share some Divrei Torah with us.
Listen, I got the call on Sunday that they wanted me to speak. Usually people specifically tell me not to speak. This is actually my first Siyum and my first ever public Devar Torah. So I asked a rabbi what to do, being as if that's what you do when you don't know something. And he said, give Musar. So I'm going to give you Musar. How often do you think about the day that we're going to die? It says the living know that they're going to die. Okay? Rashi says on this, Tzaddikim know, what do they know? They put on their heart the day of their death. And they think, oh, look, one day I'm going to die. And I'm going to be judged for all the bad stuff I did. And guess what? I'm going to also be rewarded for all the good stuff I did. And I'm going to reap the benefits forever in the world to come. So when it comes to be, when there's an opportunity to do an Aveira, they think about how they're going to die, and they don't do it. Makes sense. Now, Rashi says, what do Rishayim do? Obviously, they don't do this. They don't think about how they're going to die, And they don't think about how everything they do in this world, they're responsible for it. And they're going to have to pay. And it reminds me of a video I once saw. Okay? They were opening up a new department store. It was in America. And the idea was they were going to go up to a customer and give him a shopping cart, an empty shopping cart, and they were going to say to him, listen, you got 1 minute, fill up the shopping cart, and after the minute's over, whatever's still in the cart, that's yours. You don't have to pay for it. I remember they give this guy a cart, and this guy, he's already sweating before they even get in the cart. He picks up the cart, throws it on his head because he doesn't want to be bogged down by traffic, and he runs straight to the electronics. And he takes all the iPhones and everything and the laptops and he fills his cart. And after a minute, this guy must have had $50,000 worth of technology in his cart. He didn't waste a second. Okay, I think he pushed people out. He was crazy. Okay, now let me tell you what didn't happen. Nobody in this store who was in this contest, nobody said to themselves, oh, you know what? They gave me the cart. I have a minute. I'm not going to run all the way to the electronics department. It's kind of far. I'm tired. The message I want to get across is that everybody should be blessed. They should realize this opportunity Hashem has given them in this world. We should all realize we're here to do mitzvahs. We're here to have kavanah in our mitzvahs. We're here to be grabbing diamonds, to do everything that Hashem wants us to do. And chas v'shalom, we shouldn't be bittling our time. And I'm wishing batzlachah to everybody here. Amen. Okay.